Hi, I'm Darcy Cornish, host of D&D Fishing, a fishing show made to bring young anglers into the sport of fishing. We're going to be showing you how-to and basics of fishing, so you can just get out there and start. And we're going to be going on trips and videotaping on techniques and technology of the sport. We live in northwestern Ontario. There's great fishing here, and I bet you'll have a blast watching this show. I'm Darcy Cornish from D&D Fishing. 3, 2, 1.
Hi, I'm Dylan Patterson, co-host of D&D Fishing, the D part, that's right. And today I'm going to talk to you tips about spinners like MEPS and Field and Stream. They're good for everything from pickerel, pike, to trout and bass. These ones here I have are about trout size, and when I go fishing up on my secret lake, that's right, secret lake, not telling you. Anyway, back to business. I like to use these, and as you see with these ones, they have the fuzz on the end here, and I like to use that because it attracts and makes it more brilliant. And then also with the certain colors, you can get certain colors. Like this one looks kind of like the Jamaican flag. You can get ones for different colors of water. I like these just because they spin good in the water, and certain ones you can get with the weights on them, which weighs it down and makes it kind of woo. So I enjoy using these. They're fun action, they're hard hitting, and when a fish bites it, you just got to give it a little bit of a tip, and then they're stuck. They can't let go, and they just seem to work right good for me. So when you're fishing trout, bass, pickerel, pike, anything, I suggest you get some MEPS or some Field and Stream. That's D&D Fishing for you.
Hi, I'm Darcy Cornish, host of D&D Fishing. Today I'm going to talk to you about a feature triapla as distinct to them as a fingerprint is to you. It's called the new Sure Set hooks on some of the Rapala products. The Sure Set hooks, as you can see that right there, they have two normal size trebles, and then they have one that hooks out, and that brings you a lot better hooking percentage. As you can see on the other ones, this is an F9 or an F11. They don't have that. So if a fish just lightly nips it right there, it's not going to get hooked. But with this one, it sticks out a little bit. You're going to have a very high hooking percentage than these ones. The Sure Set hooks are on all the DTs, all the DT series. You can get Sure Set hooks in. And a few of the other ones too, you can get Sure Set hooks in. And this is a great innovation to the sport. You have a way better hooking percentage, and you're going to catch a lot more fish when they're not biting really hard. That is your tip of the week. I'm Darcy Cornish from D&D Fishing. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, I'm Dylan Patterson with D&D Fishing. Here I'm going to show you our tackle of the week and how to make it. So what I have here is a whole set of spinners, so it depends on like where you're fishing and how big your fish is. You can have big willows, you can have little Colorados, we have soup spoons, and we have like a tornado kind of style. So depends on what size of fish. You can have a big hook, about 1.5 inches. You can have 1/2 inch, and you can have a little 1/4 inch. So depends on what you're fishing for. I like to use my tri-line by Berkeley. But unfortunately I don't have the big enough because it depends on what I'm fishing for. If I'm using a big hook, I don't know how big the fish is going to be, so I like to use my thicker stuff. This is 30-pound test line. So what you want to do is you want to take your hook. I'm going to use 1.5, and you put it through the eye. You want to have about almost 3.5, 4 inches of extra line. Pinch it down with your thumb like this, and you want to start wrapping around the shaft of the hook. You want to do this about 5 or 6 times and make sure they don't overlap each other. So there. Now you take it through the loop at the bottom, like so. Now you pull it taut, and you pull the other side tight. There, and now you just give it a good pull from the top. Now you're going to have a little bit of extra on the end, and you can't leave that there because that makes the fish not want to eat it. So you just snip it off, and you snip about a foot from the hook, just like that. So what you want to do is you're going to need beads for your hook. This will keep the spinner away from the hook and the bait. So I'll put 2 yellows down, like so, and then 2 reds in the middle. The red ones, if you're fishing for salmon during the fall or springtime, they work especially good because they resemble eggs. And now you put the other 2 yellow on top, just like so. There. Now you have your hook and your beads. And you can use as many beads as you want, and depending on the size of the hook and the size of the spinner. Now you're going to need your little C-clamp. It's pretty hard to see it, and it's right small. So I'm going to use, let's see, eeny, meeny, miny, I'm taking this one. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to take the little C-clamp, and you want to put it through the eye of the spinner. Now taking your string, you're going to put it through the eyes of the C-clamp, pulling it down. Now you want to make sure that you don't put the string through the eye of the spinner, otherwise you'll get all tangled up. So I use the little metal C-clamp, but you can also buy exchangeable spinner clamps, and that makes you be able to change out different spinners. So now that you have all this, you want to pull each side tight, and you want to make sure that the spinner spins freely on the thing, on the line. So now you take the ends and you bend it over, depending on the size of loop you want. Pull it like this, and now you go through the hole, and now you want to make sure that you slide the knot down, or else you're going to have a tiny little hole. There. Now you're done your spinner. That's been the tip for your lures this week on D&D Fishing. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm host of D&D Fishing. Today I'm going to show you some basics of a bait casting rod and reel setup. The first thing that's important on a bait caster is that instead of on a spinner you flip the bail and then cast. This one there's a little button. It's usually right here on the newer combos. This is an older one, so it has a button right here. So you press that in, line comes out. Start turning your handle, line comes back in. That's probably the most important part, because you're not going to go very far if you don't know how to do that. Second thing is a drag. Lots of people ask, where's the drag on a bait caster? Because on a spinner, it's right on the top. You turn the low knob, right? On this one, it's this little star-shaped thing right here. Right on the side there. On a spinning combo, as you can see right here, it's on the top. On all spinning combos, they're always on the top. And then there's the bail on the top too, which is totally different from a bait caster. Right? So you spin it backwards, loosen the drag, forwards, tighten the drag, and you can mix and mangle that. Third most important thing is this little bar, or this little round thing right behind the handle, if you can see that, right behind the handle. If you turn that backwards, it loosens how much tension's on the spool. So if you're a beginner, you don't want it to be really loose, because you're going to cast and it's going to backlash on you, which I'll show you what that is in a second. So you should have it pretty tight if you're beginning. And then on the other side of a bait caster, another important part is the centrifugal brakes. It's the knob right on the side here. You can have it at 1 if you're really good, because that means that there's going to be no braking against the spool. But if you turn it more to 5, 6, 7, you can see how it's numbered on the side, then that's going to be better for a beginner, because then it's not going to backlash, and it's going to have some braking on it, so when your lure hits the water, your spool is not going to keep going. Another pretty important part that all bait casters have, this little part here, it goes back and forth to make sure that you have the line when you reel it in, it goes evenly on the spool, right? So, lots of people ask, why are bait casters so much better? I like using them for bigger fish because it doesn't really matter how much line you put on here. You can put 10, there's 10 pound test on here. You can go all the way up to 60 if you want. The lighter line's better for finesse fishing, heavier line's better for fishing in heavy cover for bigger fish. That's pretty much all you need to know about a bait caster combo. I will show another video later on how to cast one and how not to backlash. I'm Darcy Cornwich with...
Hi. That was our first episode of D&D Fishing. I hope you enjoyed. If you have the access, we, Darcy and I, would really enjoy if you could give us tips, comments, places to go fishing that you'd like to see, stuff that you'd like to see us do. And if that's possible for you, that would be very much appreciated.
Yeah, right here, we just got a big snowstorm, which we weren't expecting. We were hoping to go steelheading this weekend. Didn't get out for it. Hopefully next weekend I'm going to be buying a canoe. So most of our shows are going to be shot out of a canoe. Hopefully we're going to hit a couple tournaments this summer, videotape those, videotape a kids tournament that we're going to be going to even if we don't get into it. And yeah, it should be a great season for us. So comment, subscribe. That's D&D Fishing. I'm Darcy.
And I'm Dylan.